Hello and welcome to the Audio Dad Chronicles. I'm Shale, and today we're going to take a dive back into BTS. We're going to be looking at the Boracity video essay for BTS are Rockstars. Hey there, Editor Me here, just putting this video together for you all and taking the steps that I have to take to make sure that this can hopefully sneak through all the copyright filters, because as I will indicate in the video to come, it has been an ongoing frustration with me and needing to mute things and not mute things and have things blocked and get copyright strikes and all that. So I really appreciate all the support and all the comments and all the views and sticking with me, and when videos disappear, coming to find them over on Patreon. Speaking of, you can find them over on Patreon in an unedited state if all the edits I have to do bug you. But I just wanted to thank all of the Patreon supporters and all of the supporters who have kindly donated on Buy Me a Coffee, link up there. As you can see me again. I have some new lighting and I'm really thankful for that, and that came as a direct result of all you kind and generous supporters for watching my channel. So I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to you all for that. Upgrades continue to come. Hope to get those new earphones really soon, but had to divert attention because my light died. And I did want to throw it out there that starting on the most recent few videos on this channel and moving forward on all videos to come, there is a new feature where all of my patrons and all of the supporters on Buy Me channel are going to get a shout out every video. The outro, there is now a little bit more to the outro, and you all get a name drop in there for your support, and I really appreciate that, and that will be updated about weekly. So the goal there is every week, any new supporters that have come along will get their names added to the list. And to go along with that, I've started one extra little thing. Now, you all know Saturn by now, I'm sure. He's my black cat. He loves to video bomb things. He loves to get in my lap, get in the way, and cause general mischief. Well, we've started something called the Spotting Saturn Club. Now that's not when you actually see Saturn coming to my videos, because we can't control that. He's a cat. He does what he wants. It's his house, not mine. But what that really means for you all is at some point during this video and every video I do from now on, somewhere in the video, there's going to be a little sticker, a little picture, a little cartoon of Saturn. It's going to appear for a couple of seconds on screen and then it's gone. It's only going to happen once a video, every video. If you see that, you tell me, put a comment in saying hashtag spotting Saturn or whatever, doesn't matter. You tell me, hey, I saw Saturn at, and you put the timestamp. And if you were the first person, and only the first person, to spot Saturn, you tell me, and if you're right, I'll make a note of that. And when I update the reel for the next coming week, you get mentioned in the Saturn Spotting Club. So there'll only be one person per video that gets that. And you'll only be up there for the week. So the day it happens, you won't be there because it's already happened. But when I update for the following week, it will be there. So if you think you spotted Saturn, you got to watch more of my videos, but you'll get to see your name mentioned for the following week until we update it again. Just thought I'd let you all know. Thanks for everything. Thanks for watching. Please enjoy the video to come. So as I continue to navigate the murky waters that are the copyright system that are continually getting me strikes, videos blocked, videos taken down, videos put back up again, then taken down again, and repeat. Frustrating as it is, I thought this would be a good opportunity to jump back into one of the Boracity video essays that you all have been mentioning so much that I really need to check out. So we're going to do just that. We are going to check out BTS are Rockstars today. So let's go. Let's just jump straight into this. And yes, as indicated, turn on your CC's English subtitles, which we have prepped. So let's go.
Just a quick disclaimer. If you're a rock fan or metalhead,
Check.
I know how this community can be. So just don't be pretentious. Be open-minded and nice.
Definitely.
If you're an ARMY but don't like hard rock or any kind of metal music with screams and loud instruments, I know you're going to be respectful. Just remember that these genres are not always pretty.
What
And
if
the
you
music videos and live performances I will show can be a little disturbing.
Interesting.
Also, please don't take my comparisons too seriously. This video is based mainly on my opinion.
Noted.
I love rock music.
Me too.
Actually, my favorite music genres are rock, metal, and their subgenres. But my favorite artist is actually BTS. This may be surprising because BTS music catalog includes a lot of music genres, but they don't do a lot of hard rock. They do have songs with rock elements.
Can confirm.
Get me your best lover, the space lover.
Take all my needs, baby. 운명을 찾아낸 둘이니까. 나의 사랑, 나의 사랑, 나 위해 입은 거짓을 빚었네.
Oh shit.
I dig that. Cool riff.
Step right left to my beat.
At the beginning, I say that I get into this video hoping that it'll give me a little bit of a break from having all the copyright issues and harsh editing and such that I've had to do. Why do I see myself needing to mute just about everything I just witnessed? Oh well, it is what it is, and it's worth it. BTS is getting to be pretty damn cool, I gotta admit. I'm fully on board with what Bora's putting out at the beginning of this, so it'll be worth the effort, and I hope you all stick with me through it. I got some excellent and much appreciated feedback that the editing I've had to do so far has been tame relative to others, and it didn't work. I still got that video taken down anyways, but I got it back, so there's promise, and I'm going to take that as the win that it is, and stick with the optimism, and we're just gonna carry on. We're gonna soldier on because that's what we need to do. So let's go. I saw this performance on my Spin the Black Circle over on Patreon. That's where I listened to the entire Jack in the Box album front to back. And I also watched the live at Lollapalooza versions of every song on it. And this was a standout. One of my favorite tracks from it. Really, really cool song. Love this one.
Shake to the heart.
I believe I loved you once. For me once, then for me twice.
Burn it till it's all gone. Yeah, burn it. Sorry.
And that was the song that inspired me to watch the whole album more. That song was freaking killer. I loved that. That was a really good song. And Arson, the closing track, at least as far as the album is concerned, I think I liked it even more than more. Love this song. This was killer. Live at Lollapalooza was even better. Loved it.
You know what?
But these songs were not the ones that made me an ARMY. Actually, the song that first got my attention was the disco funk bubblegum pop anthem Boy With Love.
Yeah, you make me your boy with love. Oh my, oh my.
To be more specific, I got interested in BTS after watching the live performance of Boy With Love at M Countdown. At first, I didn't really
They look so young in this. I'm used to seeing a little bit more older version of them for the most part. Having recently watched things like their performance of On at Grand Central Station with Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show, and their Tiny Desk concert that unfortunately none of you guys get to see, but it's over on Patreon. Patreon link. Had to move it there. It got blocked worldwide, and it was one of the first ones that just started a recent headache for me. So hopefully I can work past all that and keep the videos coming more often for you all over here publicly.
understand why this specific performance got my attention. I didn't understand why BTS got my attention. What I'm about to say are just dumb stereotypes. But how can a performance of 7 men dressed in pink doing a choreography to a very poppy pop song be cool to a rock audience? Why
You'd be
did this
surprised.
make me a fan? It made no sense. But after years of learning more and more about the group and interacting with the fandom, I've realized that it makes a lot of sense and that I'm not the only one. There are many armies who consider rock music their favorite genre, but they are still fans of BTS.
Well, or if you're out there watching this, if you ever come across my videos, rock, metal, punk, industrial. There's synths behind me. I ain't using those things for pop. I'm using them for like Ministry, Skinny Puppy, heavier music, things like that. Very industrial, very harsh, gritty, dirty. I often describe my music as soundtrack music that's fully instrumental, and it's for I make the music for this for the soundtrack to humanity's demise. Very boom and bash and clash and aliens and bombs and crashing and things like that. So, but I'm also really, really digging BTS and really falling into what I'm hearing more and more. So
This
definitely
is
call
just
me a
my
fan.
opinion, but I think this is because BTS gives so many rockstar vibes without necessarily having the conventional rockstar music. Despite
It's an
seeing rock
attitude.
fans and metalheads reject them at first, just like I did, I now notice that BTS keep attracting this community. Here's why I think this happens. I love watching rock concerts and performances
Hey, that's
because
Linkin
they
Park.
are insane. No matter what they're singing, you can
I've seen Linkin Park, and that's Hailstorm. I've seen both of these artists live, and they both kill it. Really good performances. Hard rock, gritty, great energy. They are both rock star bands for sure.
expect a lot of energy, live vocals, and a real passion for performing. To be more specific, I see that both BTS and my favorite rock bands get into character. They feel
Legit.
the music so much that they forget about everything else. They are determined to put on a show. They perform like it's their last. Also, whether they like to admit it or not, there is
And that's Slipknot. I've seen Slipknot live on their first ever tours that I'm aware of that came to Western Canada, where I'm from. And this would have been late 99, early 2000. And they won me over right then and there. They were nine, young, hungry, chaotic. They were dressed in orange, I think, coveralls at that time, and they all wear masks, and they're just jumping around and slamming into each other and lighting each other on fire. It was absolute chaos. So I definitely get the losing yourself into the performance type of a thing, and yeah, I see BTS falling into that category. They seem to go all out, full on.
a lot of thought in those concert outfits. If it's not masks, it's extravagant outfits
Poppy, I'm going to be playing Name That Rockstar. Let's see if I can get them all. I'm shooting 100% so far.
crazy makeup, or unique hair
Green
colors,
Day?
or something
Heck,
different.
I've seen every one of these artists live so far.
The same
Great
way there's
choices.
thought to BTS's outfits and stages. There is a theme and a different aesthetic every time. In pop music, this is hard to find with male singers. Female singers and
Agreed.
rappers are usually the ones who care about looking good on stage, as well as
Gaga.
rehearsing to give a performance worth watching, because people are paying to
Rihanna.
see them. But I don't always see the same energy from male singers. Male pop singers usually go on stage with an outfit you can wear to the supermarket and occasionally bring out a guitar. I'm not saying that this is bad, but it's not exactly what rock fans and armies are looking for. Powerful energy, practice, and some thought to the presentation of the performance matter to most successful rock bands and BTS. And the size or importance of the stage doesn't matter. Whether they are at a small venue or a huge concert, they give their everything. I see a lot of people saying that they don't understand how BTS can dance those difficult choreographies in sync while singing live and changing formations all the time.
Real
To the
talk.
extent that they make it seem easy, like they were born with all this talent, when in reality there were hundreds of hours of practice. The same way a rock band can have the illusion that they are careless, they are punk, they don't need practice, they don't care about anything.
Hamburg, Hamburg, over the fuck, Ocken Park.
Fucking everywhere, I don't fucking know.
But to make all of the
Taylor Momsen, the Pretty Reckless. And that's a very true statement Boris making there. It does look easy, but the reality is these artists, whether it be BTS, Pretty Reckless, they're putting in hundreds of hours. Being a former roadie, I have been a part of rehearsals and tour preparation. And it's not just a matter of practicing the songs a couple of times, showing up to the bus and getting and going. It was a very normal thing in preparation for a big tour. For myself as, part of the road crew or inner circle, the family, as we are often referred to, the close knit, the musicians would immediately call upon people like me, and I would work for some bands exclusively for many periods, like long periods of time, even years sometimes, working for the same artist and what would become known as the family. And big tours like they're showcasing here, we would rent a facility where we could set up the full stage. We would set up the full band gear, the full production, backdrops, everything, and we would rehearse it for hours at a time, days at a time, weeks at a time to get the show dialed in and perfect so we could pack it all up, put it in the trailers, go on the road, and make it look like it just happened by accident. Very true.
instruments and live vocals sound good, as well as having a good presence on stage that feels like one cohesive group, they had to have a lot of practice. Both BTS and rock
Corn.
bands care about being impactful and giving an impression. And to do this in the most honest way, they do it through
Iron
live
Maiden.
performances. Because anyone can fool the audience with an amazing music video. But to prove that they are good
Bora's already proving to me that she's practicing what she preaches. She knows what she's talking about. She said that she, primarily was a big fan of rock and metal, but got into BTS and couldn't figure it out. The name dropping, so to speak, that she's chosen for the quality and caliber of artists and performers with Slipknot, Korn, Pretty Reckless, Hailstorm, like all those bands that I've been throwing out and spotting in the crowds. Those are genuinely extremely hardworking bands who have extremely polished performances where they've worked for years or even decades to get to the point that they're at to make it look like it's natural, it's punk, it's just happening. So good on her. She knows what she's talking about. She's not just throwing out some random look up a prompt. Insert rock band here. Oh, these are some intriguing names. I will pick those. She knows what she's saying. She knows what she's talking about.
performers, they put a lot of thought and hours of practice to their live performances. I don't know if this happens with other people, but I genuinely think that some live versions of BTS songs and my favorite rock and metal songs are better live than in the studio, because it may sound less perfect, but it can feel more real and interesting.
That is some serious real talk there. I don't know how it would apply to somebody who's more of a pop music fan. I think that's exactly the point she's making. But certainly in the rock metal world, live albums are a big deal. They're big things, and there are famous live albums for very big artists. And those performances, those live albums, aren't famous because they exist. Oh, insert band here, did a live album. Well, it must be great. No, there are famous, huge live albums that got that reputation because they're better than the studio. Myself, in my up and coming years in terms of musical identity and discovery, a band that really left a mark on me was Motorhead. I heard Motorhead in my early teens, probably 12, 13 years old, give or take something like that. So we're talking the mid late 80s, because I'm a little bit older now. And I'd heard a couple of studio tracks and thought they were pretty cool. And so I went down to my local record shop and I wanted to buy some Motorhead. And this would have been on a cassette. And the only Motorhead album they had was called No Sleep Till Hammersmith. So I went, okay, and I bought it. It was a live album. It's one of the greatest live albums ever made. It's phenomenal. It made me the Motorhead fan because the energy and everything about the performance was just that much greater. And I dare say that once I had an opportunity to get deeper into the Motorhead catalog and I started exploring their studio albums, there are many, many tracks on No Sleep Till Hammersmith, the live album, that stood out to me as infinitely better than the studio album. And they're downright to having arguments with friends and other people over why this version is better than that version, why this solo is better than that solo. So that's some real, real talk. There are some absolute classic live albums that contain absolutely just critical key listening. This is the way, this is the real way. And interesting, since she name dropped it, I'm going there. Linkin Park, one of the bands that was just kind of flashed upon really quick here. They have a live album called Live in Texas. It was very early in their career, opening up for Metallica. There are some versions of songs on there that are completely different, different lyrics, different song structures, completely different songs from the studio. And I will take it to my grave. They are the better versions by far.
Get there, come and show me what you got. You sexy girl, 나한테 그게 중요해. 내 이상형 충전. 우리 결혼해.
Baby, go until you dig, come and show me what you got. You sexy girl, 나한테 그게 중요해. 내 이상형
I may just do a whole lot of mini pauses on this because as I learned on editing, one of the other guides that I watched, and I had it taken down multiple times, and I had to subject myself to what I consider heavy-handed editing, muting the vocals and blurring out, and it sucked. I hated doing it, but I was determined to keep the video up because it was quite long, and I had put about a day and a half into it between prepping for it, recording it, filming it like this, and then the editing. And that took a long period, and technical issues and audio dropouts and stuff you guys don't need to hear about. And then finally edited it and uploaded it, and outputting the file, it took like an hour and a half. And then uploading it took half an hour, and then it was taken down and then flagged for copyright and then blocked worldwide. And then I would go back and edit it again and again. And it took about 10 or 15 edits. And along the way, trying to learn the quirks of the copyright system that YouTube's automated. And again, this has nothing to do with BTS, but the automated system and the way it works, I literally did some experiments. And it turned out that the magic number was somewhere around 7 seconds. In fact, even after all of the probably 8 to 10 or so edits I had to make to that one, the guide, no, not the Boracity guy. That's the one. Taylor Murray's guide. That's what I'm thinking of. After all of the editing and everything I had to do to it until I finally got it up, it was cleared. It was free. It didn't have any restrictions. It wasn't going to get blocked or taken down or have any type of contesting. I put it up. 3 days later, I got another flag. Over 7 seconds. There was a 7-second clip of music that wasn't even BTS's. And it wasn't even the song. There was a keyboard synth progression of some sort that had the same series of notes as somebody else's song. And it was 7 seconds long. And after 2 or 3 days online, after being viewed about 3,000 or 4,000 times by all you Army members, and I thank you for every one of those views, it got dinged again. Thankfully, there's some tools built into the YouTube system where I was able to click a couple buttons and it just chopped those 7 seconds out. And on we went, so to speak, because I watched that section of the file and I determined that it's harmless. There's nobody talking. I'm not talking. It's 7 seconds of some background music that wasn't really BTS, or maybe it was BTS, but the flag wasn't even from BTS. It was bizarre and frustrating. 7 seconds. I had my video taken down over 7 seconds of instrumental music. It was like 3 notes on a keyboard. It's frustrating.
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. 앞으로 go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. 달리자 word. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready.
And it's not lost on me that Bora, who I'm going to call her Bora, I think that's the name that she refers to or utilizes online. It's not lost on me that in this particular one, she seems to be a little faster with the snippets than in previous guides that I've watched of hers. It's almost like maybe she's even learned the same lesson and she's had to deal with similar grief. So she's shortened down her little snippets that she's using just to make sure that she can give these videos to us, for us to watch, and for people like me to react to.
My point is that both BTS and rock bands have extreme, complicated, well-rehearsed, passionate, impactful performances.
Agreed.
Being boring is not an option, and you can see it on the audience's response.
That was like a show that I've never seen in my life. I've been to so many concerts, I have seen festivals, I have seen like massive productions, but that dwarfs every other show I've ever seen in my life. I don't even know how to compare that to anything I've ever seen.
후회도 모른지 아니면 외로움이나 날지 여전히 모르겠어 서스터는.
Just gonna take a quick second to read that, because they're specifically talking about lyrics matter, and that keeps coming up a lot with All You Are and Me, about the importance of the lyrics and the messages that they're trying to convey. And certainly, they might be singing in Korean, so a fellow like me can't always follow along, and the automated generated translations are usually garbage. Definitely can agree with that. And then you see these little snippets, and you're like, man, that is deep. These guys got depth. They got layers. They're like ogres. They got layers.
I know that some people may say,
I hope y'all got that reference and I wasn't calling them ogres.
extreme, well-rehearsed performances are common in all of K-pop, and that is true. I'm going to ignore those groups we all know are very lazy and don't like to perform. I'm going to ignore that lip-syncing or singing with loud, pre-recorded vocals are extremely common in K-pop. With all of that out of the way, it's known that K-pop groups in general practice a lot for their performances. But the reason why I care about BTS specifically is because there is a very heavy personal identity the members have with their music. To be more specific, they identify themselves with their lyrics. This may sound like an obvious thing, but let me explain why I found this surprising. There is this popular topic in K-pop regarding noise music. This is usually music that is out of the ordinary and that sounds very extreme. It's usually EDM and dubstep, but it's considered experimental. The first description may attract listeners like me because I love listening to people scream with a bunch of instruments being loudly played in the background. But K-pop's noise music is seen in a negative light because
I've been criticized certainly when I was younger, for listening to a lot of harsher, heavier music and death metal and things like that. And you can't even understand what you're saying. How do you like this? Sometimes I don't even care what they're saying. It's got a good feel, got a good vibe. Maybe it's the vocal delivery is just, touching a spot emotionally, even if I don't necessarily know what they're saying. Sometimes I actually hate the vocals too, but the music is just so darn good. But then sometimes you discover artists that really do have great lyrics and you have to read them, and whether or not it's harsh or noise music, whether the message is being masked or not, sometimes that's the point, sometimes it's a byproduct of just their style, but it doesn't take away from the fact that, noisy or not, lyrics can matter and they can have impact and they can affect people. And sometimes they even don't. I can think of some completely instrumental music that will what bring me to tears practically, what will is impactful and it's important to you. Music is life-changing. It is a big part of what makes us inspired and gives us soul and purpose and energy. I listen to music as a distraction. I listen to a music to set my mood, to resolve a mood, to put me in a better mood, just to get through the hum and drum of the day.
It's loud and too much without any reason to be. On the other hand, I feel like rock and metal are emotions coming to life. The songs are intense because feelings are intense. These extreme songs have a purpose and a meaning, and you can more easily recognize what the song wants to say by reading the lyrics. And yes, I'm saying reading the lyrics because even though most rock fans listen to rock music in their language, sometimes these intense genres have unintelligible lyrics.
And that's Black Sabbath there. And yeah, it's funny. I was just touching on that. Sometimes the lyrics are intelligible. And that is one thing that I certainly feel is missing from the streaming experience. Sure, you can look at your phone or the YouTube video and they might be able to scroll lyrics by, but there is definitely a disconnect that the music listening market of today, will say, lacks that my generation, or and maybe even one after, and certainly many before that, had the opportunity to experience, whether it was the record sleeve that you opened up, the cassette J box that you card that you folded out, the CD booklet, that tangibility of holding the music and sure supporting the artist in that you paid money, you opened up your wallet, you spent the cash, you went to the store to buy it or ordered it online if, a little later in the years. But there's that physical connection, going to the record store or the CD store and picking it all out. So many of my early memories of choosing and adopting and loving the bands that I do, it started with that physical connection from looking at them all, from seeing 7 Black Sabbath albums, knowing I got $20 in my pocket, I can buy one. I'm here for this is a true story. I'm here for Black Sabbath. I heard a song, or I know that album, or a buddy of mine played it, or I heard something on the radio, and I want to invest in it. It's like, what do they sound like? I don't know. Flip it over, read the song titles, look at the art. What does it do for you? What kind of emotional response and visual stimuli is this giving you? Where are you diverting that money, that attention? And then you do it. And you get it, and you buy it, and you go home. You put the record on, the CD on, the tape on, the whatever on, the 8-track if you're that old. And you open up the booklet and you read the lyrics. And I don't know about you, if you've had these experiences, but for me, I would sit there and I would listen to that album front to back, and I would read that entire booklet. I wouldn't just follow along with the lyrics. I would read the lyrics of the song I'm on, but then I'd skip ahead and I'd start reading the liner notes. Who produced it? Who mixed it? Who made the artwork? Who was the band thanking? What other bands are they thanking? Oh, new song is starting. Go back, read the lyrics kind of quickly through. Whoa, what did he just say? Go back. That tactile experience is really missing from music with the streaming experience. And it's very unfortunate because for me, and I'm certainly guilty of this, having gone from listening to albums and CDs and having that tactile experience and bonding with the bands, them being my bands and being so important to me for all the different reasons, and then transitioning to a primarily online streamed hit a playlist that's randomly generated for you experience. I've lost that connection with a lot of artists. That's kind of why I started up this channel, is I started realizing that the playlists I'm listening to, I'm not building them. They're being given to me. It's the same dozen or so songs from the same dozen or so artists in just randomly different orders. And oh, you're mixing it up. You're throwing out something new for me. Here's a new song. That's cool. What was it called? I don't know. It came and it went, and I didn't look at it. I didn't read it. What are the lyrics in this? I don't know. They're kind of on the screen, but they scroll by and I can't really follow it. So I definitely, definitely can respect and identify with what she's saying here, because that is definitely a big part of it. Let's back that up a bit and let her talk a little bit more now that I've already touched on that, then had her touch on it again.
To be more specific, they identify themselves with their lyrics.
Very
This may
much.
sound like an obvious thing, but let me explain why I found this surprising. There is this popular topic in K-pop regarding noise music. This is usually music that is out of the ordinary and that sounds very extreme. It's usually EDM and dubstep, but it's considered experimental. The first description may attract listeners like me because I love listening to people scream with a bunch of instruments being loudly played in the background. But K-pop's noise music is seen in a negative light because it's loud and too much without any reason to be. On the other hand, I feel like rock and metal are emotions coming to life. The
Very
songs
true.
are intense because feelings are intense. These extreme songs have a purpose and a meaning, and you can more easily recognize what the song wants to say by reading the lyrics. And yes, I'm saying reading the lyrics because even though most rock fans listen to rock music in their language, sometimes these intense genres have unintelligible lyrics.
of all the references to make about unintelligible lyrics, it's kind of fitting that she picked Corn because not only is their music sometimes it's very intense with an intense, harsh delivery, and you don't know what he's saying. Jonathan Davis, the singer of Corn, for those that aren't true rock metal fans, I don't mean true, but you know what I mean. For those that aren't familiar with Corn, there are many, many songs where their singer Jonathan Davis is known for, pardon the term, but scatting, for making up words, for utilizing vocal sounds in a melodic way to convey just emotion. And they're not words. There are actually no words. He made up his own little language, so to speak, and it's his thing. And you just have to listen to some Korn songs to get it. But if you've heard some Korn songs, and it doesn't take many, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
English is not my first language, so I was always open to foreign music. This is why I consider reading lyrics part of the listening experience. Sometimes you may even understand what the
Muse,
singers are
one of the best live bands I've ever seen, and I've seen them over 6 or 8 times now. The band that I've traveled the farthest to see. I drove about 8 hours to see Muse live. It was worth it. It was amazing.
but reading the lyrics of a song makes you concentrate exactly on the message and your interpretation of it. I'm not saying that it's always like this, but the rock songs I happen to listen to have amazing lyrics most of the time, and the live performances are those lyrics coming to life. The same way, BTS's music has 7 unique songwriting styles that work cohesively and that feel authentic and natural on stage. Different artists can practice their performances, but they won't truly connect with the audience if lyrics don't matter. You can do the most complicated choreography the world has ever seen, but if the song and lyrics are not there, music fans that care for some kind of connection and real emotion won't be satisfied by your magic tricks on stage.
And hey, speaking of choreography and identifying with the lyrics, even to tie that back into rock, having worked behind the scenes, like I was talking about, prepping for tours and staging, and then being on stage, side stage, but on stage for a band, doing a whole tour, seeing 20, 30, 40, 60 shows in a tour, taking a couple weeks off, going to another country, doing it again, sometimes seeing hundreds of shows in a period of time spread over a couple of years for one artist or multiple artists. One thing that does happen in rock and music, and it's maybe not conscious, but there's choreography. The guitar player, will just pick on him for a change. The guitar player, when he's playing this song, this riff, it hits him and he's feeling it a certain way. He may adopt a habit of certain moves, faces, positions, holding it, usually using the same guitar for that song every time. You know, certain parts of the song, he's going to do a jump, he's going to have his signature moves. Well, if the bass player does that too, and the drummer's got, you know, his embellishment, and the singer's got his pose that he's holding or pointing or doing what he's doing, and then you put the pieces together, though that puzzle comes together, and if those guys are even just naturally are wind up doing some of the similar moves at the same time, it becomes habitized, and over the course of 60, 80, hundreds of shows, you wind up with choreography to a point. And that's not to say that it's sterile in any way. It's very organic, but it absolutely happens. So where BTS might be rehearsing specific dance moves to hit certain points and be at certain points in the stage and all that, or a lot of times rock and metal bands wind up adopting a similar thing where they're very choreographed almost. And if their stage production is big enough that they're utilizing things like pyro or air cannons to blow steam up in the air, or flash things, or spotlights, stuff like that. They have marks on the floor. I would be putting marks on the floor. Stand here when you're going to be up front. Stand there when you do that. Here's an X'd out area. Never stand there if you want to live. Things like that. And there are times when musicians make mistakes. They miss their mark. They go to the wrong spot, and sometimes it ends very badly. The first time I ever didn't get to see Metallica live was 1994. They were touring with Guns N' Roses and one of my favorite bands of all time, Faith No More, and who was opening. And about, I don't know, a couple of weeks before the show tour made it to the West Coast, where I had tickets and was eagerly awaiting to go. They were performing in Montreal, and James Hetfield, the singer, rhythm guitarist of Metallica, made a mistake. He stood in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and a flash pot, pyro, whatever it was, I think it was pyro, lit up on cue when it was supposed to, and he was standing right on top of it. And it badly burned him, and had he not been breathing out, had he been breathing in at the moment that happened, he probably would have died. But thankfully, he was holding his breath, or he was breathing out. The fire engulfed him, burned him really badly. He dropped like a stone, hauled him off the hospital. Excuse me again, too much coffee. He recovered, and they were able to resume the tour many, many weeks or months later. They did not reschedule in Vancouver. I never did get to see that show. I got a refund on my tickets, but it was a horrible moment, and it was all because the choreography just fell out of sync for him that one day, because they're not as choreographed and with intent as an artist like BTS, but they still develop those choreographies. So it's a very true point. It's very interesting that she brings it up this way.
And the live performances are those lyrics
That
coming
System
to
of a
life.
Down?
The same way BTS's music has 7 unique songwriting styles that work cohesively and that feel authentic and natural on stage. Different artists can practice their performances, but they won't truly connect with the audience if lyrics don't matter. You can do the most complicated choreography the world has ever seen, but if the song and lyrics are not there, music fans that care for some kind of connection and real emotion won't be satisfied by your magic tricks on stage. BTS cares about their lyrics and correctly interpreting those lyrics on stage. We know that RM is the literal definition of a poet. Suga has been writing for himself and others way before being in BTS. J-Hope quickly became one of the most respected songwriters in South Korea. And the vocal line, Jin, Jimin, V, and Jungkook learn how to write music fast because they care about bringing a meaningful message to the group and correctly interpreting this message in their live performances. For all of them, lyrics matter because lyrics are emotions and stories and messages.
Personally, huge connection with the theme and the lyrics that they're talking about. It made me think of the first song that we wrote together.
BTS is kind of like in a area of genre where I wouldn't really mess around in, but something about the way that they write and the way that they make their lyrics flow and everything like that just keeps me really hooked in, which doesn't happen a lot with like a hip hop or like poppy side, you know?
Yeah.
Really intrigues me. They're great songwriters. And the fact that they're making me just want to slam this song out 50,000 times in a row is impressive.
The vocal line for me, I was like, it seems like it's going to be more poppy, and I'm not really into pop music very much. So that was the thing that I was nervous about. But then whenever I heard Epiphany, I was like, damn, pop music can actually carry a very deep message and something that I needed to hear at the time. And so, like, that was a changing moment for me being a fan of theirs.
The BTS members write about themselves and their perceptions of the world. This is why their albums always reflected the stage of life they were going through. During their school years, they wrote about school. When they entered adulthood, they wrote about youth. If they live something, they write about it. Their songs usually have an easy and relatable message that doesn't require much thought, as well as a deeper, complicated meaning that requires some analysis. This is why so many armies, including rock fans, take the extra step of reading lyrics by a translator who gives context. Because I'm not joking when I say that these can be multi-layered poems with tons of wordplay that need interpretation and references about books, movies, traditions, movements, and different events that happen in South Korea and the world. This is how their music became some kind of social commentary.
That's very true, and it ties right back into the point of this video, with them being rock stars. That is a fair comparison and overlap, in that a lot of as pointed out, the conventional pop is vapid and not very deep, whereas they are, and a lot of rock music is very deep and needs that interpretation, and you need to have read those books or understood that poet or that artist or painter or whatever. A lot of rock music is more nuanced and open interpretation. Sometimes you will read a lyrics and you get to speak to the singer who wrote them. What did you mean when you said this? What is this about? Oh, it is what it is. It's open to interpretation. Sometimes they're very straightforward, and other times they're just very poetic. But rock music, more than not, has a tendency to be a little more deep, a little more nuanced, a little more referential to other things and other medias and stuff. And of course, there is some vapid, empty rock music as well, just like there is pop. There's trade-offs to both sides of it.
Just like with rock music, BTS has the occasional love song here and there, but most of their music has some kind of social commentary. Whatever the social or political message is, this is extremely common in rock and metal music.
That's the sound of another door shutting in the face of progress, in the face of progress. I don't need your authority, down at the bottom of your
Excellent album. Great band.
You see a politician and you start to pull your hair. You wanna tell them what you think they fucking care.
Love the Pretty Reckless. Let's just leave that one on screen for a minute when I bring up one of my own personal bands, since they're leaning into a little bit of the political side, the deeper the message, things like that. One of my all-time favorite bands, had to check, not wearing the hoodie today, and has become an all-time favorite band of my family, is Rise Against. Rise Against. Was the second concert I ever got to take my young teenage daughter to. Her first being Green Day, her favorite band. Rise Against would be her second favorite band, and like I say, the favorite band of our whole family. They're very political. Very earth conscious, people conscious, very a very pro humanity and humane type of a band. They're all I don't know if they're all vegans, but I believe they're all vegans. They're all very pro supporting of PETA and things like that. And we're going back to the mid-late 2000s at this point, and I started dating my wife, the mother of the teenager I mentioned. And they were even then one of my favorite bands, and I got her into them, and they became. And back then, I had made a desktop wallpaper for my home computer, which was this logo in the center, and single line or two or three lyric, maximum one verse lyrics from their first 3 or 4 albums, which were all that existed at that time. And I made this big collage, and then she had, saw it, it really stood out, and read it all, was like, what's this? And of course, went on to become one of her favorite bands. And as of the time of this filming, in about a month, we will be going to see Rise Against as a family, all four of us, for the second time. Really excited for that. That was a lot of fun. I decided they were touring, and just before Christmas, and money was kind of tight, so we didn't think we were going to be able to go. And so I told everybody, sorry, we're going to have to pass on this one. As much as we love the band, we're going to have to miss it. Turns out that I was able to set aside a little bit extra money, and I got the tickets in secret. Nobody knew. And then for Christmas, we always have the Christmas tree, and there's any time we get any cards, Christmas cards from family that are mailed to us, we just put them in the tree and we open them all on Christmas Day and read them then. And so after all the cards from the different family members appeared in the tree, I made one. I actually made a card, put it in an envelope and put it in the tree, and I made sure that was the very last thing that we ever opened. And so when it's time to read it, everybody's like looking at me and they're like, what is this? And I had made a Christmas card for the family without anybody knowing I did it. And I had the youngest one, our daughter, open it up, and she opened it up, and she's a big horror movie fan. And I'd taken the Saw 10, Saw X artwork, and I inverted it upside down so it spelled the word Christmas. And then, so you want to play a game. And to borrow lines of dialogue from the Saw movie, and you opened it up, and I took the whole family on a hunt, an Easter egg hunt, if you will, through our house, reading the clues and then finding where in the house it was. And they would go at that spot, and they would lift the object, and there would be another card. And there were 6 cards scattered throughout the living room area, with the final one culminating with the reveal that we were all going to go see Rise Against. And it was a pretty cool moment for me. I had a lot of fun making it, and they had a lot of fun looking for it, and we're super stoked to go see Rise Against. And like I said, they are a very, very political motivated and humanitarian based band. And they are certainly one of those bands that it was their lyrical impact and the importance of their humanity, for easier way of putting it, that really drew them to me. And you know, the way they cared about the environment and all of that, it was a big draw to it, and it was a big reason why I dare say all of us as a family became to appreciate and love the band as much as they did. Is their messages really spoke to us, not unlike System of a Down and their 20-ish something year old song, which, if you just read the lyrics that are on stage right now, are even more frustratingly accurate 20-something years later than they were back then.
There will be no peaceful revolution.
The same way, BTS debuted with the mission of sharing social messages. And although some people say that BTS doesn't care about social commentary or impactful lyricism anymore, that is completely false and
Maybe
shows
just
how a
not paying
big part
attention.
of the general public and K-pop fans don't read lyrics by themselves. They just repeat what others are saying. In every single album, from their first one to their most recent one, they have dealt with topics related to psychology, philosophy, politics, and society. BTS
Where conversely, I'll get the exact count right, so please don't judge me for this, but I have read a meme, if you will, although it's accurate apparently, I'm going to pick on Beyonce and the song, and I don't remember the lyrics, I don't listen to her stuff, but it was like, I'm just making this up, like, oh baby, 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 ooh, or something like that. And like that was 3/4 of this song. It was just repeated over and over and over again. And this song had something like 11 songwriters and 14 producers and 19 words. It's like, what? Then there's these guys, so yeah, I feel this.
rebellious lyrics were one of the main reasons why a group from a very small label with zero industry support got the attention
Nice
of many.
headphones.
This type of success story is also common in rock music, because the mainstream music industry doesn't pay as much attention
move.
to rock bands as they do with pop solo acts. So BTS's first trilogy of albums, known as the School Trilogy, attracted a lot of rebellious students and young people, since the songs were about many topics related to school life, as well as criticism on the education system and expectations society enforces on adolescents.
어른들과 부모님한테는 받기 꿈을 실패 장래 희망 넘버 원 공무원 똑같은 사회 반항해
So I just had one of those 7 seconds moments but reading the lyrics on screen, and yeah, I get that. That's really interesting that they had a school age or timeline of, you know, going through the struggles of school and whatnot. Just because it popped in my mind, Green Day would be one of those ones. Their first album that came to prominence publicly, big, Dookie. You know, it dealt with a lot of themes of boredom and discontent and things like that, and it really spoke to the time of it. When it came out in the early 90s, that was really just indicative of society and, you know, teenagers and all that, is the boredom and the frustration with the world and things around them and not being taken seriously and being ignored a lot. So relatable.
As the years pass, BTS started incorporating psychological concepts to their songs, attracting listeners who look for music that talk about mental health problems. And again, this is also very common in rock music.
Indeed.
The same way BTS has written about depression, anxiety, grief, loneliness, pain, and insecurities.
Every day I pray 내가 좀 더 나은 어른이 됐으면 해 And every day I stay 사람도 아픔도 언젠가는 죽기에.
While continuing the conversation of mental health issues, BTS amplified their social commentary on the education system to larger systems like society, consumerism, toxic masculinity, social differences, and injustices.
I like this song. Great lyrics. Also, this one came up in my full album listening as well. This one really touched me. This had, you know, I saw the song "Equal Sign." That's a title. And then when the lyrics got in, there was like a oh moment. If you've seen that video over on Patreon, you'll see it. There's a literal oh moment when I'm watching this. Oh, I like this. Oh, that's good. That's deep. I like it a lot. Good song.
All we got is mad teachers and so visible classes, divided spaces and forever lasting stresses. More than a gun, more than another tip with your tongue just glitter. We got sort of the tree, I know. You need sort of motion, I know. We got get raging. When I saw get raging.
And of course, songs like Change and Equal Sign may be obvious with their message, but even the most catchy songs with colorful and happy performances may have some kind of social message too. For example, the execution of Go Go is, in my opinion, one of the most rock and roll heavy metal songs I've ever heard. In the live performances, they laugh in your face. They basically do a choreography full of dance trends at the time while wearing expensive trendy outfits. The chorus is extremely catchy with a lot of popular phrases that young people like to repeat.
Irony is the point. I like that. Isn't it ironic that the song Ironic has no irony in it?
But what they're singing is a protest on consumeristic materialism, and what they're doing is making fun of careless spending, especially when young people spend all their money on useless trends just to fit in. Even Boy With Love, that song that got me into BTS, was commentary on themselves from the past. Boy With Love is some kind of growth from their previous single, Boy In Love. The extreme pink and bubblegum pop work as a response to toxic masculinity and gender roles. They sing that
So it was
someone's true
intentional,
strength doesn't come
the
from
pink.
big luxury. It comes from finding joy in the smallest things in life. At the same time, this feminine and even glamorous aesthetic complements the psychological idea of a persona, which they explore on their album chapters Map of the Soul, based on Jungian psychology. Just like this, BTS implements psychological concepts, classical fiction, and social movements in every single album.
Look at that stadium.
Finally, I think of BTS as rockstars because they created a fandom with a strong sense of community. While the rock and metal scenes have served as the vehicle for multiple subcultures, such as the goth, punk, and emo subcultures, BTS has created a significant shift in fandom culture. Just like
And even something like the ARMY, the fan base of BTS. That's a I don't know of any. I'm sure they exist, but I don't know of any other pop artists too much that have they have a fan base, but they have a name. I guess maybe something like the Swifties would be an example of one that does exist. But a lot of big metal rock type bands, their fan bases have names as well. The army is a common one that comes up. The warning has on the army, and it's a good fitting term just because it encompasses a group that follows a leader and so on. Kiss Army, um, the Maggots. That's Slipknot's fan base. For a random one, for those that don't know that, yes, Slipknot named their fans the Maggots.
rock and metal genres, BTS's socially conscious music has inspired
But
the
it's a
fandom
compliment.
army to work more as a movement than a fandom. Of course, the sense of being part of something bigger, along with other people who enjoy the same thing as you, creates a strong community. But ARMY also bond over their mission of
I've
breaking
heard
the
a
fandom
lot about
stereotype
this.
by paying attention to social issues and taking action. I already made a video explaining how ARMY's unique story has changed fandom culture, but in general, it has to do with the way ARMY normalized within the fandom privacy, respect, security, and generosity. If you're skeptical of what I'm saying, please watch the video. The
I might
BTS
have to.
ARMY is
Not because I'm skeptical about what you're saying, because I'm just more curious. The more I get into the deeper meanings of their lyrics and their intent and their desire to have deeper meaning and intent, the more I just want to learn about them in general. I'm very much trying to balance listening to their music with just learning about them as people because I am very fascinated and interested in that as well.
some kind of movement.
I think it's I think one of the things that leads you to bond, that led many of the army to bond with them, is that common sense of community that they foster.
Culture. If there's a social issue, ARMY organizes themselves to follow BTS's steps. If it becomes public that BTS donated to a certain organization, ARMY matches their donation. If BTS cancels their tour because of the COVID pandemic, ARMY donates their ticket refunds to pandemic relief organizations. If BTS tickets get sold out faster than ever, ARMY donates their ticket money to organizations helping the victims of a current disaster.
Wow.
Charity and different initiatives happen all the time in the ARMY community. I'm not saying that extreme performances, lyrics that matter, or social commentary are exclusive to rock music
No.
and BTS. Of course, some of these factors are also common in other genres, but my
I mean, Taylor Swift made a big thing of donating money all through her Eras tour, paying her staff and her touring people well, and then giving them massive bonuses at the end of the tour to say thank you. It's definitely not unique to them.
point in making this video is that I, as a
Not a Swiftie in the slightest. I can name none of her songs. I think I've heard maybe one or two of them, but I have mad respect for the woman.
fan got interested in BTS and became a fan, something I never thought would happen. The same way, fans of many other genres got interested in BTS and became fans because the BTS members are extremely versatile artists. So while I see them as rock stars, fans of other genres may associate BTS with characteristic traits of their favorite music genre. Their rock characteristics are my favorite and what I appreciate the most in them. But a hip-hop fan may think that their deep appreciation and ability at rap is what makes them special. A fan of pop music may think that their ability to make their songs sound fresh and modern is what makes them special. A fan of dance may think that it's their polished choreographies what really makes them special. And an R&B or jazz fan may think that their musical complexity and ability to interpret emotions on stage is what really makes them special. Whatever it is, Suga was right when he said that you like BTS music if you listen without prejudice.
Good quote. Very cool. And there it is. That was deep. That hit deep. That hit me in a lot of places, and all of them were good. My respect and appreciation for BTS and the human beings behind the music only continues to grow with that. That was something. I need to go sit down and ponder this all for a while. All for the right reasons. Thanks a lot for coming along on the ride in this one. I hope to see you all again. Peace, love, and empathy to all. Good night.